Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Good morning, warrior princesses. How y'all doing this morning? It is Saturday, and I am so excited. It's Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. We have such an amazing opportunity to come together on today to begin to share just some great opportunities to because it's mental health month, and self-care is so important for us in the season that we've been in for this past year and almost 2 years. I thought that it was important for us to come and gather together and to get some interesting information on about how we can live better, how we can address some of the things that we have going on in our lives. And uh, when I thought about what would be a great topic, we began to talk about trauma and how trauma affects our lives. And I know, like anyone else, maybe some have and some haven't, but for us, this pandemic has been very traumatic. And it's just been one of those things that's kind of burdened us a little bit. So we wanted to make sure that we came out and we began to support our families, each other, the women, the men, as we began to discuss how can we come together and uh, focus on addressing some of the traumas that have affected us in our lives, whether it be from childhood or something current. We don't know what is going to show up, but what we do know is that what we can address if we come together and in like-mindedness and begin to share and to talk and to address some of the things that we have experienced in life. So I think it's so important for us to think about that and to go through that. So we have an amazing uh, speaker on today. And I'm so excited to have her here. Let me tell you who I am first. My name is Pastor Kimberly Pullings. I am the pastor, where I co-pastor with my husband at Live Church, but I also pastor our women's ministry, which is Warrior Princess. I'm a mother of 6 beautiful children. We are called the Pullings Bunch. My husband and I have been married 13 years, and I had 3 children. I had two boys and 1 girl. He had 2 girls and 1 boy, and we came together. Good morning. We came together and we became the Pullings Bunch. So a little bit about why self-care, mental health is so important to me as a retired 9/11 first responder. I retired due to depression, anxiety, and PTSD. And in order to overcome that, I had to go to counseling. There's some things that I had to do. There's some work that I needed to get done in order to address some of those issues that I was dealing with. And we sometimes don't do that because it's a stigma, so many different things, so many different reasons for why we don't. But it's important that we know that there's help. And this great woman that we have coming today is a beautiful author. She is a mental health expert. And when she spoke to us in an event that we had, it was so powerful, not only to myself, but also to my husband when he heard her speak, that it was necessary for us to do this in a smaller setting and take it to a 6-week study so that we can walk this out together. So, as a trained biblical counselor, she is a trained psychotherapist. I am so honored to have her here on today. I wanted to share a little bit about who she is. Her name is Miss Andrea Wise Brown, and I'm going to bring her up so you can actually see her. Woo! And we are so excited to have her. And I just wanted to share with you a little bit. I want to show you her book, number one. This is can you see it? Because I don't know. My camera is kind of bright. So this is her book, and it's called The 6 Pillars to Power of Your Mind. I am so excited to walk through this book with you guys. I'm one of those people where I don't take it for granted. I like to walk through the book with you, and I like to to allow whatever I get to be really authentic. So when you get my opinion and when you hear from what I'm speaking, you're hearing directly from what I'm getting from that moment. It's not something that's like regurgitated or anything like that. I just like the freshness of doing things like that. But what I love about Andrea Wise Brown is that one, she is our sister. She is in love with the Lord, but she serves the world with excellence. And she has been doing that for 15 years. And you know what? Let me let her do some of her introduction. I'll let tell you guys a little bit more about herself because she's phenomenal. I want you to see what I see. I'm gonna turn it over to you, and then we'll come back, and then we'll begin to talk then. But I want you to have the full amount of time that you need to begin to speak to our ladies. So I'm excited. Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating and saying yes. I'm so honored to have you, and I appreciate you so much.
No, thank you so much, Pastor Kim. And that's what I call you, Pastor Kim. But I am so excited to be here. And I am honored that you're asking me to be here because I am so passionate about people living their best life, about people being empowered to live their best life. Like, it is the reason that I live. It is the reason that God gave me life, is to empower others to live their best life. And it just happens to be mental health. Like, that is my platform. So that is my platform to empower others. Because what I've learned a long time ago, when people just kind of give advice, this is before I was actually trained some years ago, because this is a second career for me, but it's just always been my passion and my purpose. So I've always served it. But some years ago, just to give you a little bit of background on me. When I was always the girl who all of the friends would come to for advice. Like, that is just who I've always been. And I was always the person that people would come to for advice. But what I could not understand, and this was over 30 years ago, is that when I would give advice, this is before I was trained, I need you to hear me. When I would give advice, I could not understand why, people would walk away and then come back. And then they would still be doing the same things over and over again. Like, the behavior just would never change. I couldn't understand that. And at this time, this is probably a lot of me, but my first career, first graduating out of high school early, my first career was, I was a cosmetologist. So I used to own a hair salon. So not only did I just grow up being a friend that people would come to for advice just because of just my spirit, but then once I was, owned a hair salon, I had fully staffed people working there. And, all my clientele, when they would come in every week, they would always drop all these deep gems of the things that they were going through. And me, I was just Andrea, cosmetologist. I was good at what I did now. But that's who I was, a business owner, entrepreneur. But they would always give me, tell me the problems, and I would give advice. Couldn't understand why they would come back and be in the same situation. So anywho, after some time, and I got on my knees and I was trying to figure out, well, Lord, this business pays me well, but I'm not serving my purpose. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And what I knew was I had the spirit of empowerment, because I always wanted people to be happy, and I wanted people to live their best life. Like, whatever it is that you think of, whatever it is that you desire in life, I have always carried with me the yearning for people to live that. So when I was asking God, like, what is it? Why am I born? What is my purpose? Because we used to watch Oprah every day at 4 p.m. in my salon. I don't care who you was, what you was. You came in at 4, up on that television was Oprah Winfrey. And she was kind of doing this spirituality, and Iyanla came on. So Iyanla said, get on the floor, put your belly to the ground and roll. And I did all that. I got home, put my belly to the ground, trying to figure out, okay, what is this? What am I supposed to be doing? And I knew it was empowerment, but it was speaking to people and empowering people. Then I would go back to, well, when I give advice, people would come back. So God said to me, or either I said to myself, sis, before you can give advice to people, you have to learn people. You have to learn everything about the brain. You have to learn everything about human behavior in order for you to get to even understand or to empathize with people and why they do what they do. Is you have to become an expert on the mind, on the brain, and on human behavior. And that's what I did. But what's so interesting is for me, during my childhood trauma, and I'll teach you a little bit about trauma because I think it's so important. It's what leads us here. But what I learned somewhere along the way was that I wasn't smart. I wasn't smart enough. I was smart, but I wasn't smart enough. I think I heard a teacher one day saying something or mention something about maybe the classroom that I was in wasn't as smart as the classroom that the other people were in. And so that was something as a child I took with me. I was really young when I heard that. So I started to kind of judge myself. So when it was time for me to graduate, even though I graduated school early and I would always get good grades. And one thing that I would always get is on my report cards. All the time on my report cards, I used to get spanked. I'm going to say beat, but I'm going to say spanked. I'm going to give my mama some grace. I'm going to say spanked today. But I was spanked all the time because on my report card at the end of each session, on the little side, we used to have those comments. I'm from Jersey, so I don't know if y'all had those, but in our report cards on the side, it would say, Andrea is a very good student. Andrea is very smart. So they would say that, and I would get A's and B's, but they said, but she talks too much. It's another story. So some other trauma. And I would always get beat for talking too much. But let me just tell y'all something. Purpose is purpose, because today I get paid for talking. So, okay, all right, because that's who I was. And I got beat for being who I was. All right. But anywho, we'll talk about that because that's also traumatic, right? Okay. But now I own it. I don't talk too much. I talk just enough. And I talk to serve my purpose, to empower others. However, once I graduated from school early, and I went to go to college, but I went to like a community college, and I think I did one semester, and my head wasn't in it because I was really feeling like, I don't want to go to a community college. I want to go to Harvard. And I didn't feel like I was smart enough to go to Harvard, not because I tried and failed, but because of that story that I heard a long time ago about me. Okay. Now, but what I do is I'm a smart girl. And in my household, what my mother upheld was pretty much being independent, being strong. She always told me that I was going to be amazing. Now, I got beat for talking too much and I couldn't really express my feelings. However, she would always say, put me up to be on the stage, or you're going to do a fashion show. So she always told me that I was great. She always told me that. So I always knew and felt like I could take chances. But I was taking chances for me that were easy chances. So for me to have a task and to overcome a task, then that was good for me. That would work for me. So when I knew that, which I knew that, but it was because I was kind of told to do that too. But when I was told, you could do hair and you can style and you could do this. So I was like, okay, instead of me going to school like I really wanted to, remember that trauma, because it changed my brain. It changed how I thought about myself. I didn't think I was smart enough to do that. So what I did instead was did something that was easy for me. So it was going to hair school for me. It was styling hair for me, because that's just naturally another gift that I have. Anywho, in doing so, I also always felt like no one is ever going to take my gift and make money off of my gift, where I just make a little bit and they make a lot. So I worked at a couple of places, and then I decided I'm going to have my own place. And that was how, I got my own salon. I attracted beautiful women who I still love to this day to come work at my salon and all those things. But now I was working and I was surviving. I was working, I was doing well, I was getting paid well, but I was not serving my purpose. I didn't feel joy. Yeah, I could buy fabulous things. I got married, I had a baby, we bought a house, I had a salon, I had people working there, but I was not fulfilled. I wasn't fulfilled. watching this Oprah show. I'm bringing y'all back to the story. And that's when I'm like, okay, so what is it, right? Because I'm always feeling a yearning for something deeper. And it was that empowerment thing. But then when it came up and I said, okay, I need to learn the brain and I need to learn human behavior. Woo! So how do you do that? Go to school? Like go to college? That insecurity, that childhood stuff for me came up for me. You can't do that. That's for those girls over there on the other side of the tracks who have two parents. That's for those girls over there who could pay for like prep. That's for those girls over there who get tutors. Like you living in the hood growing up with a single mother, you were just created to just kind of hustle and survive. Lies, lies, lies. But that was a story that I pulled together, a narrative that I pulled together because of what I was told, what I saw surrounding me, what I even heard from my mother. You're great. And you would be great if you did this. You would be great if you did that, right? You're great. And if you did this, if it was what she thought it was. But if she had never gone to college, she could never tell me that wasn't even an option. So she couldn't even push me to do that. So this is what I'm telling you. Everything that I'm learning, everything that was around me in my environment is what I was learning and acting out. However, got on my knees and I said, you know what, Andrea, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to school. You are going to face your fears. Went to school, running a business with a baby and a husband and a home. And I'm here now, years and years later, because it took me a long time, but I got here now. And so now what I do is I'm a psychotherapist. I am in a practice. I'm here in Dallas. I have two locations. One is south and one is here in downtown Dallas. I'm actually at my office now where I see people and I empower people every day. Alongside of that, I've done so many things in this mental health field since the beginning till now. So not only have I done some things on Fox News that I do here in our area locally. I am a local expert, but also internationally. I've also done some things on OWN Network, on radio. So I've done a lot of media. And it's only God, because I'm serving my purpose. I'm connecting to God and I'm serving my purpose. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with me pushing through those lies that I learned as a child, pushing through that fear and aligning with what God had for me, with the path that he had for me. And then he brings me all of this and he brings me here to you today. So that's kind of giving you, I guess, some background on who I am. In addition to that, I used to work with the police department and I educated police officers on mental illness and mental health. And I would help them. I would go out with them and I would help them to assess whether a suspect needed mental health help or whether they needed to go to jail. Also with the help the FBI. And in addition to that, I was also a trained hostage negotiator and I would go out on negotiations. So that is worked for CPS as an investigator, hated that job, but God had me there for a reason because that was what got me to the next job. So, okay. So anywho, that was a lot about me and that's my background, but I am here today, humble, authentic, and I am here ready to serve you. And today, what we are going to talk about is this book, 6 Pillars to Power Up Your Mind. Mental health is a lifestyle. What I've learned over the years that I've been in private practice is there were some core rooted essentials, 6 rooted essentials that were research based that could help every single human being on this earth keep their minds healthy and strong, because the reality is when your mind is strong, then your romantic relationships are strong, then your money, your finances are strong, then your career is strong, then your parenting skills are strong, then your friendships are strong, then your body, your physical health is strong, because it all starts with your mind. And during this research is where I found these pillars. And today we are going to go into these pillars. One thing that I do is I specialize in family of origin trauma. So you say, Andrea, okay, what is that? So what family of origin trauma is? So a lot of people would assume, when I'm speaking, and I say, have you ever been traumatized, or do you know what trauma is? A lot of people will look at the shoe, or look at the person next to him like, well, no, not really. Because the first thing you think of is what has been sensationalized on the news or on television and shows. You think of molestation, like I've never been raped. I've never been molested. So no, I've never been traumatized. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, if you have, of course, that is traumatic too, and you have experienced trauma. But there are other types of trauma that people have experienced, and they may not even know what it is, and know that it affects how you see the world and how you are stopping yourself from moving forward. And I kind of gave you an example of some trauma that I experienced. Did it rock me to my knees? It did not rock me to my knees, but it shaped my self-esteem, and it could have, if I did not push through my fear, stop me from living my best life. So I need you to hear that. I need you to ask yourselves, as we are here in this group today, have I ever experienced trauma? Family of origin trauma. So this is what I'll do right now. I'm going to give you an example. Let me give you an example of what trauma from one of my clients' perspective. And trust me, the name of this client, the name has changed, although she told me some time ago that I could always use her story. But the name has changed because I will always respect confidentiality and honor confidentiality. But okay, so we'll start off by talking about Natalia. So let me bring you guys into Natalia's life. I kind of told you about my life. So I'm going to bring you into Natalia's life, and I'm going to explain to you examples of family of origin trauma. Trauma changes the brain. So if you've experienced any type of intense fear, any type of intense hurt, then what it does is it changes the brain, the composition of the brain. Because if you were living in healthy circumstances and had never experienced these different blunted effects that would make your brain to think differently, then you would be thinking in a very healthy, empowered, full of self-esteem way. And that's the type of life that you'd be leading. However, if you find yourself going in these same circles, or on that hamster wheel, or caught up in the same dysfunctional cycles, then you've probably experienced some family of origin trauma. But the great thing about that is, the great thing about grace is, and the great thing about God and how he created us, is he created a masterpiece, honey, when he created you. A masterpiece. And you have a brain. We all have a brain. The average size of a brain, weight of a brain is about 3 pounds. And it is 3 pounds of magic. You hear what I say? Of magic, of power. There's this thing that's called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to change. So wherever you have been traumatized, trust me, God already gave you. He built it inside the brain, the ability for the brain to change. change, but you just have to do the work. And it starts with you identifying where you were traumatized, where it came from, what is the narrative, what's that story that you keep repeating and telling yourself. What is the story? Once you identify what that narrative is, you have the power to change the narrative and to use God's language when he speaks of you. Neuroplasticity, my favorite word, one of my favorite words. Yeah, I'm not a liar, so let me go back and correct that. It's one of my favorite words because it is the ability to change the brain. It's the brain's ability to change it, and you have the power to do that. So we'll start off with Natalia's story. So Natalia came to me. She was 20 something years old at the time. And when she walked into my office, she said, "Oh my gosh, Andrea." She called me Dr. Brown. A lot of my clients call me Dr. Brown. I never want to misrepresent myself. So let me tell you something. I am not a doctor. However, I am a mental health expert. I am a psychotherapist. I know my stuff, and I help people to live their best life by facing challenges, overcoming life's barriers, and breaking dysfunctional cycles. But I'm not a doctor. But as I do this work, a lot of my clients say, I'm calling you doctor anyway. So I say, okay, I'll take that. And let's roll with this. That's what God says. If that's what you say, then I'll take that because I'm doing God's work. So Natalia comes in and she's like, I'm done. I can't do it. I can't function. I have 2 children and I can barely function. I go to work and I just kind of stare at the ceiling. I feel like I've been written up a few times. I feel like I'm going to get fired. I am in these relationships that are always abusive. And I just feel horrible, and I don't know how to move forward. I don't connect with my children. I don't talk to my children. And I just don't know how to move forward. And she said, I'm just here and I'm sitting on your couch. I've never had counseling before, but I heard somewhere that they said that counseling is good and I just need help because I almost feel like I don't want to be here. She said, I'm living every day because I have children and I don't want to leave them. However, I don't feel like I'm even present for my children. I'm living for them because I know it's my responsibility, but I don't even connect with my children. Like they annoy me when I see them. And she had little children at that time. So I'm like, well, what just happened? Because let me tell you, what is most important is that we peel back the layers of the mess. We peel back the layers of the mess. We peel back the layers of the dysfunction. Let's get to the core. Let's get to the root of it so we can pull it out. And then you can start to do some work and take care of those wounds so that you can heal. And this is going back to the same thing, right? That family of origin trauma. Let's figure out what it is. What is that narrative? So we can go back, dispel it, and create a new narrative. Truth. We can create truth, the truth that God told us, what God has for us. So she's coming in and she's talking. And so, okay, let's peel back the layers, Natalia. What's going on? Well, before we even got there, because usually when there's a breakdown in your life, like right then at the time, because this is the deal. So we live with these narratives. And we're doing stuff, we're breaking relationships, we're not moving up as much as we could move up in life or as far as we could actualize, and not even knowing, unbeknownst to us, that these narratives, that this family of origin trauma is stopping us. We don't even know it until something happens, until there is a break. And this is something else that I want to say. So I know today these are women, I'm assuming, who are here, mostly women who are in the room. This is helpful for men too. But I need you ladies to understand how important it is for men to go to counseling. for men to go to counseling so that they can understand their family of origin trauma, because the family of origin trauma is the reason why men and women act out in certain ways. And a lot of times we get caught up on the surface, just blaming him for his behavior, blaming her for her behavior. But the reality is that we are all children of God. And we all have this trauma or this narrative that most likely at the core is telling us that we are not enough. And when you feel as if you are not enough, then you act out in that way. You've all heard the stories. If someone is told that they're bad and they're bad and they're bad, don't tell your children they're bad. Don't tell, there's a thing in the Black community, I can remember this a long time ago that, we used to think it was cute. Oh, get your bad self over. Oh, you so bad. Oh, you so bad. No, 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 no. Stop calling your children bad. Self-fulfilling prophecy. When I think that I am what it is that you say that I am, then I act out in that way. So when people make mistakes, stop calling them their mistake. Your mistake is just what that is. It's a mistake. But what you are is a child of God. Come on now. There's grace and redemption. There's a difference. You separate the two. Okay, so let me come on back. So I was saying all that to say, for we are going to also meet for men. I want you to encourage the men in your lives, your brothers, your fathers, your husbands, your cousins, your friends, to go to therapy, seek therapy, talk through that stuff, even when they think nothing is wrong, but yet and still you see them acting out in ways that are not godly or ways that is not serving them or the people who they are around or the people that they love. Tell them, my brother, daddy, cousin, go talk to somebody, talk through some stuff, because you done compartmentalized a story that told you in essence that you were not enough. And we are meeting again on the 26th of June, and we will have men here. So please invite these men, because once, remember, you go in and you take that splinter out, peel back those layers, and you start to create, you clean it out and create the real story, the story that God would have us know of ourselves, then the behavior changes. So I just need you to know that you cannot change behavior on the surface. Doesn't last for that long. You want to change long-lasting behavior, you got to do what we doing here today. And I thank you for showing up. So Natalia came in, so I said to her, so what actually just happened now? Because when we break, because we can live with this trauma, with this story, but when we actually break, there's usually something that occurred. What just happened? Oh, well, okay, she told me that her latest boyfriend just left her. And now today, they say ghosted, the young people, they say ghosted. So she said, the person that I was just dating, I loved him, and I just knew that he loved me, but he just ghosted. Like just one day I came home from work because, he would watch my children. And one day I just came home from work and he was gone. And he had halfway moved in and was staying with me like 4 days out of the week, and all of his stuff was gone. And I just don't know how to take it. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I don't want to go on any further. So I just could you help me? Okay. So that's her story today. That is your story today. But let me just tell you, here's where I come in and I do the work, and other mental health professionals. So now we're peeling back the layers, because there's a story that tells you that brings you to the point that you feel as though your life is not living because some broken person or some person who is detached from themselves for whatever reason and they've decided to move, and their behavior has made you think that you are not enough to live the life that God has gifted you to live. Something else is here, because it ain't just this. But see, that's what we think it is. See, that's what we think. We think it's the story on the surface. But no, baby. It's the root. It's the foundation. So we go back and peel the layers. So when I start to ask her about childhood, she told me that she was the oldest of two siblings, a boy and a girl. And she said that her mom was a single mother and that they lived in impoverished situations, and her mother was always gone. So she said whether her mother was working all the time or dating all the time, she was always gone. And the only time that she would really see her mom is maybe some mornings when she'd wake up on her way to school, and her mom may be waking up with some man that she was dating at that time. But as Natalia started to grow older and she had these siblings, and all three of them had three different fathers. And as she grew older and had these siblings, her mother always had this expectation that she was the one to take care of her siblings. She had to be the one to take care of her siblings. So right there, diagnosis over there, we build in a case, she's a parentified child. She, as a child, when she started off at age 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, she had the responsibility to parent her little sister and her little brother. I want you to hear me. So some people think that that's cute, and some people in some family systems think that that's normal. And what I'm telling you is that it may be normal. It may be normal, but is it healthy? No, it's not. No. Some people might hear this and say to me, well, Andrea, I mean, that was our option. That was what we had to do. Okay. Now, I think that there's a difference. If what you have to do is have one of the siblings take care of the other siblings, then there's some other workings that need to happen at the same time. Then that older siblings need to also have their needs met, because they have needs too. And there needs to be some accountability. You have a 12-year-old raising a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. What kind of decision making is this 12-year-old doing? Even when she's 13, even when she's 14, even when she's 15, even when she's 16, what are the younger siblings being exposed to? You have to remember this. The brain, I told you that miraculous thing, the brain that God gifted us with, there are stages of development for the brain. And it's the reason why when we are children, we first come out and we babies, there's certain baby food that says from 2 to 3 months, from 4 to 5 months, 6 to 9 months. There's certain things that babies are supposed to do. Supposedly, they can sit here from this to that month. They can do this from that. It's all about brain development, healthy brain development. So, and the reality is that the brain does not completely, fully develop. It is not completely finished and developed until age 25. And at age 25, which the last about 4 or 5 years, that prefrontal lobe is what's completing. That's what's completing. And that is where our reasoning is. That is where our logic is. All those things are come out of our prefrontal lobe. And that is the last part of the brain to be developed, age 25. So you have to think about that. A 16-year-old, and I'm going to say 16, that's where I'll take you. I won't even take you to when she was 12 and 13 and 14. But when she was 16 and she was making decisions, she's not going to make decisions as an adult, as you're going to make a decision. That you have to hear that. I want everyone out there who are parenting teenagers, adolescents, who get so upset and so mad and so judgmental when they make silly mistakes. It's normal. The brain isn't fully developed. And what happens is you start to judge them because you see it differently. Well, you should. You should. Your brain is fully developed. And then I'm assuming that by the time that you have a 16-year-old, not only is your brain fully developed, but you've also acquired some wisdom. So you have all of that. And now you're judging, an adolescent for their silly decision making. Be careful, because remember, what you call them, they become. All right, so I think I kind of told you enough about being a parentified child. especially a parentified child. And this is what Natalia was. She was in a parent role, and it was made to be expected. So that means that if the children did wrong, then she'd be cussed out. Then Natalia would be smacked in the face. Then Natalia would be called all of the things that you would not call a child of God. So she was often criticized. She was often judged. And when Natalia would have, issues that she wanted to talk to someone about, her mom was never there. But not only was she not there, even when she was there in a small amount of time, if Natalia had a question or went to go ask her something, the mom would always look at her as if she was getting on her nerve, as if she was impeding on her functioning, as if she was getting in her way. Dysfunctional thinking, dysfunctional cycles. So then Natalia starts to feel like she's a burden if she expresses herself, or if she feels like she has needs, if she feels like she wants to speak out. Dysfunctional cycles, narratives. I am not enough to tell my story. I am not enough to ask a question. And then when I do ask a question, or I give an opinion, I get smacked in the mouth. And then when I go, I don't understand, I'm expressing myself. Yes, there's a way to redirect and to correct your children by saying what is important, what is appropriate, what is an inappropriate response. There's a way to do that. But the way to not do it is to call them all kinds of B's and N's and smack them in the mouth. What are you teaching her about herself? What are you teaching her? So right now, I want y'all to hear me. Natalia has learned that the only thing that she's good for is serving somebody. It's serving somebody, doing something for somebody else. That's it. So, taking care of those children, taking care of them and making sure that they make it home, making sure that they're breathing, the pressure. I mean, there's even pressure as a parent to do that. So could you imagine a 12, a 13, a 14, a 15, a 16-year-old? Pressure. So she's feeling like she's not enough to talk, to tell her story, not enough. She's not important enough for somebody to sit down and to talk to her. She's not enough for somebody to sit down and hear when she's hurting. She's not enough. She's not enough for you to just give her some time. She's not enough for you to show up. If she had a play at school, just show up and be in an audience just to tell her that it's enough for me to take a break out my day just to come and see you. She didn't learn that. She also could not get into be engaged into school activities. We know that when you engage in school activities, and especially when you do well and when you're corrected and you start to do better, that builds your self-esteem. She didn't have time for that. Her mother said, I don't have time for that. It cost money, and who was going to pick up those children? She had a job to do, so she needed to be home by a certain time. So then what happens? What happens is when Natalia turned 16, there was a little boy in the hallway at the school. And when he started looking at her, hey, Natalia, hey, you looking good. Hey, when he started to look at her in that way, and he gave her what? Attention. He gave her attention. And even if he said something that may have been disrespectful, maybe if I heard it, or let's just say a little girl who had grew up in healthy circumstances would have heard him say to her, and they would have ran away or went the other way. Natalia was like, just the fact that he's even said, you talking to me? I'm dropping everything. So Natalia started to spend time with this guy. And not only did she spend time with him, Natalia got pregnant by him. So she's pregnant at 16. And then what Natalia also found herself in was an abusive relationship. Because what she learned as a child was, when you express yourself or when you make mistakes, when you express yourself and the other person doesn't like what it is that you said, meaning her mother, she didn't like what it is that you said, then love says they smack you in the mouth just so you can correct yourself. So when she would make missteps with him, by saying things that he didn't like that she said. Or if he saw her down the hallway and saw another guy come up to her and he saw them talking, and he would walk over and see them talking, and he told her that was this, and he popped in the mouth or popped in the back of the head or threw her on the ground. Only thing Natalia went back to was what she learned. And what she learned was when you make mistakes, people who love you pop you. People who love you throw you on the ground. People who love you hurt you because they're hurt. I shouldn't have hurt him. So I need you guys to understand the narratives that she learned from being in the circumstances during her childhood. Natalia experienced family of origin trauma. It changed her brain. It changed her brain from what God told us all when we were created, when we came out the hoo-ha, is that we were enough, that we were created in his image. That was our first story. And then Natalia went home like most of us do. And then she learned a whole new story. But let me tell you, Natalia, as she's grown now and she's going through those experiences, and now I see her some years later with children who so think about cycles, dysfunctional cycles. At this point, Natalia's here. And what does she have? She has 2 children who she's detached from, who she's spending all this time at work and with these other men. Dysfunctional cycles. But she's here, thank God, stretched out on the couch. Help me, help me. So I go back, peel back the layers, and I start to teach her. I start to teach her about this narrative. I start to kind of show her the dysfunction and the ways that she was thinking. And I'm starting to challenge her mind. All of this is cognitive behavioral therapy. I start to validate her feelings. I hear what she's saying, and I'm hearing her, and I'm validating that I understand how you feel that way. I understand why you feel that way. Now let's create some change. Then I teach her some coping skills, some skills that she can do every day to make herself, to challenge herself and to make different decisions, because it's all about choices. And then she went from a space of, having a low sense of self-worth to start to having a high sense of self-worth, went from having low self-esteem, to having a higher self-esteem. And so her coming to therapy, which is one of the pillars that is in this book, one of the pillars, it's the pillar number 6, psychotherapy. Her coming to therapy was the first step to her changing her life. And let me just say this to you, so I'll stop with Natalia's story and we can get into the book a little bit as I look at the time. But with Natalia's story and her learning, not only did she go back to school, she went back to school, because I didn't tell you that she dropped out of school. So she went back to school, and not only did she get her GED, but she also got her bachelor's degree in college while having her children, while starting to attach to her children and learning how to parent her children, putting her children into programs, showing up for her children, and getting good help by building safe, trusting relationships with people in her community who she could trust to watch her children while she worked and went to school. And she started to pour into her children and her children's esteem. And let me just tell you that 8 years later today, Natalia not only has changed her life, but her children are healthy. She's married, and she's also teaching exactly what we are doing here today. So she's empowering other women to live their best life, and empowering them by teaching them about the trauma and how removing, rewording, working through trauma can change your life. So she is doing amazing. But it started with these pillars that's in this book. And this was the reason why I decided that I can't be everywhere. I don't even want to be everywhere. I really don't. But what I realized is for the people who do hear me when I speak, For the people who do hear me as clients, for the people who do hear me when I do media, and for the people who don't. I want to give you a carry away, a go to guide of everything in here that can help you create the change in your brain. I want you to have a go to guide that you keep and that you take with you wherever you go. And when you feel yourself start to slip, you just go reach, pick it up and say, oh, okay, wait a minute, hold on. This is my point of reference, my go-to guide. How do I get to it? Okay, so what did Andrea say about this? Like, it's all in here. And even in the back of each chapter, as you've seen, if you have it, you have a section where you can process what it is that you just learned. Even if you have some thoughts that you want to kind of dig a little bit deeper and go into, like all of those things, there's spaces for that in this book. So these 6 pillars. So let's get into these 6 pillars. And today I'm going to talk about, I'm going to highlight 3 of the pillars. I'll highlight 3 of them. And the rest, you can pick this up. And I know Pastor Kim will tell you about that. And I know Pastor Kim will have some. And I can give you my website later so that you can order your own and give it to other people. But it is not that thick of a book when I tell you, and it is a go-to guide. It's something that you can go to. It's a point of reference. So since we talked about Natalia, we can go into the book and we can start off by talking about psychotherapy, the 6th pillar. And I just kind of want to read some excerpts from the book. But before I start, Pastor Kim, did you want to come on and say something? Can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I muted myself to make sure that you couldn't hear me moving around in the background while you were speaking. But one of the things that I loved is you shared her story, and I could even see some of the things that I've experienced in my own life through her story. We all have some things that are going to be going on that we're going to see revealed. There's going to be some things where that may be uncovered. But what I want the young women to know, and I call everybody a young woman, no matter how old you are, because we're all young, right? So the thing about it is, this is a confidential space. So while we are live today, on starting next Saturday, we will be on Zoom. So I know some of the young ladies have the Zoom link as they registered. That's why I'm asking you guys to register. In addition to that, the fee that you're paying for, and it's actually a donation. I won't say that you're paying because it's really a donation, because I'm not taking the money. I'm not benefiting from it in any way. What I do is, from what you're giving, I am trying to bring in young women and that need to have this type of study, this small group. That can't afford it. We have people going through a pandemic. So basically what you're doing is buy one, get one. You're buying a book, you donated to purchase your book for the study, but at the same time, you're donating a book to someone that can actually use the study and can use the book. And because we have women in shelters, we have women, we're partnered with one of the major shelters here in Jacksonville, Florida. And it's so important for us to begin to sow back into the lives of others. It's so important for us to do that. So we want you to know that this is going to be a safe space where it's going to be us women for 6 weeks, walking through all 6 pillars. And basically you share as much as you want or as little as you want. If something, we call them triggers. If something triggers, I am trained as a counselor. I'm a biblical counselor, but guess, I want you to understand, you don't have to be a believer to be a part of this group. And why do I say that? I believe what I believe. I will not force myself and what I believe onto you. But what I do believe is that what I read and what I've learned and what I've experienced in life is that what I've learned from the Bible has grown, it's stretched me, it's grown me, it's given me wholeness and completeness, because that is for me. That's what I walk through. But my life's experiences are enough for me to be able to counsel and give wise counsel. So, and the thing about that, what I love about this, at the end of the 6 weeks, as you're going through, if you have questions, I'm going to say this, Dr. Brown, right, has know what? We learned that if we speak those things that aren't as though they are, so they can come to fruition. So whether it becomes honorary or whether she decides and makes that decision that she's going to go a little bit further and become a doctor, because I could see it, and I'm just going to speak that out over her life. But because I just believe in what she is doing, and it's so important because for me, somebody that's going through childhood trauma, someone that is going through sexual assault and molestation, things like that, for us, and I'm not bragging about it, and you'll see me smiling now, but that's because I'm whole and complete now. It's because I've done the work that I needed to do. And I'm not saying that I got it all the way together, because trust me, there's some days where I have to go back. I still have triggers because I do have PTSD, and there's times when I have triggers. So I have to know when to move, when to step back, when to seek additional counseling, which I do as I need it. There's so many different things that we have to do to keep our minds balanced, to keep our lives balanced. That's why I said it's titled Empowering Me, because sometimes we don't think about us. We're parents. Mother's Day is tomorrow. We're so focused on what we have to do and how, like Natalia, we're serving our children, we're serving our husbands, we're serving our bosses. Whatever it is that we do in life, we have to make sure that we serve ourselves. If we're not whole and complete and lacking nothing, then what'll happen is we're giving people a little bit of ourselves, a portion of ourselves. We're not really being able to be full and active and whole and complete and acting out our lives and what we want to do. We'll shrink back. We'll say, no, maybe not. I'll just do this or I'll do that. But it's so important for us to recognize that we have to focus on us doing the things that we need to do to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. Be selfish in this season. Take this time now that you have. It's a gift, right? It's a gift. It's a gift from me to you, to say to you, I want you to be the best you that you can be. I want you to understand that you can be free and learn and understand that what she is speaking is the truth. I promise you, it's the truth. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't bring it to you. I research everything and I research everybody. But you know what? Some things you just know that you know. And when you've experienced it and you walk this out, you have the opportunity to understand that therapy is important for us. It's necessary. It's and we can change our lives. And I'll share this when Dr. Brown was speaking, you know, and what I loved is that okay, I wanted to fix that. Sorry about that. I'm doing multiple things at one time. But what I loved is I call it the Jack in the Box theory, or the Jack in the Box effect. And I said at one point, at some point, I'm going to write a book about it, because what was happening for me, everything happened. It was like layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, and to the point where my mind, my body, I could not take anymore. And then when it exploded, yeah, you could push it back in, but why push it back in? Let's deal with it. That's the problem. We keep pushing it back in, and then life happens, life happens, life happens, and we're just steady, just going like this, going along, going along. And next thing you know, the Jack in the Box is back open, and we still haven't dealt with the problem. So the Bible calls it, it's like a dog returning to his vomit. And what that means is he's going back to eat the same thing he just regurgitated or exposed, and it's not helpful to us. Be in this season, whether it's childhood trauma, whether it's family origin trauma. Listen, that right there is powerful. That right there is powerful. I think that, and I've spoken to Dr. Brown, and I shared with her, I said, I believe that she is going to change many, many lives. I know she's done that now, but I can see this on a national level, because we are hurting. We are hurting of people. We are hurting. Our country is hurting, and we have to address this, and it has to be addressed. It's so important that we get this out there, and we have an opportunity to get it right now for the next 6 weeks. And then, and I'm grateful that my husband is going to step in, and he and I are going to do one for the men for Father's Day, starting right after Father's Day. And we're so excited because we need this. We need peace in our lives.
Yes.
To have wholeness and joy and love and all these things. And you don't realize, I almost lost my marriage going through PTSD in 2008, 2009. I almost lost my children,
Mhm.
because you don't realize how the things that you're going through affect your life. So it's so important for us to really think about what we're going to do, listen to what Dr. Brown is speaking. And then if you have not registered, come and get registered. We are going to be in a safe space. I promise you, if you have anything that's going on, we will address it. And we will make sure that if there's a question or if there's an immediate need, we will have people available that we can address those things. It's not going to be just something that we're just going to let go. And if we feel that we need to refer you to a counselor, then we can do that too. You can share as much as you want or share as little. But the bottom line is, let's come together and let's talk it out. Let's get it out. Bring your tissues, bring your coffee. You're in your own house. You ain't got to get dressed up if you don't want to. Listen,
Mhm.
you don't have to, get as cute as you want or as less as you want. It's up to you. But I just want you to be comfortable to come on in and bring somebody with you, because guess what? We all need this. We all need this. My mom, I know my mom is on here. She wanted to make sure she's a part. I see my girlfriend, one of my best girlfriends, Nicole, on here, and Nikenia. I see her, and I have a girlfriend that's Edith. She's on YouTube. So I have places and places that we can all connect. So don't let that number fool you, because there's people watching in multiple places. And the thing about it is, we have an opportunity to come together as women and say, let's help each other grow stronger. Let's build a sisterhood, a bond that is greater than what we could imagine or think. And let's go out stronger, and let's go out better, and let's be our authentic, genuine selves, but we're going to be whole and complete and healthy in the way that we do it. And you're going to change not only your life, but everybody that's around you is going to say, there's something different about you. I want to know what that is. And how did you do it? And then what you do what we're doing. You just go and you can start a book study. You don't have to be a pastor. You don't have to be a psychotherapist to walk through a book. And
That's
that's the thing. It's really easy to begin to just share that with everyone. So let me be quiet, because we're both talking. So um,
it's
it's
all
in us. It's in us.
it's all good. I know that's right. I don't know if you got beatings for yours, but I did for mine. But no more. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now I just wanted to, if you want, so I just wanted to highlight pillar 6. So I'm just literally going to refer to the book, guys, as we kind of do our book study. So I'm going to do 6, and I'll just kind of read a little bit. This is a quote of mine that that it just speaks. It speaks volumes, and I use it often. So I put quotes. Of course, they're my quotes, but like above every chapter, I put quotes. So this is a quote, and I want y'all to hear this. I need you to hear this. Okay. The smartest person in the room is not the one who's the most intelligent. I need y'all to hear this. And this is from Andrea Wise Brown's perspective. The smartest person in the room is not the one who's the most intelligent, but the one who recognizes what they want and what they need and does whatever they need to do to go and get it. That is the smartest person in the room. Sometimes, we kind of get thrown off with self-esteem issues, with assuming I'm not smart enough, or ooh, I can't really do that, or oh, they're smarter than me. It's not about that. Intelligence is different. So the smartest person in the room is not the one who is the most intelligent, but the one who recognizes what they want and need and goes to get it. Now that's a powerful brother or a powerful sister. Okay, so here we go. Psychotherapy and mental health. So the stigma associated with the subject of mental health has made it a taboo topic in many communities. Sadly, this stigma attaches a mark of shame, disgrace, and dishonor to it. Unfortunately, the general public does not know the difference between mental health and mental illness. Thus, some may see mental illness as a weakness, without understanding the complexities of the brain and genetics. The truth is if you are experiencing high levels of anxiety, feeling unmotivated and stuck, or believe you are suffering from signs of depression or PTSD, talking to a mental health professional is the most powerful thing that you can do. There is a difference between mental health and mental illness. Mental illness refers to a wide range of mental disorders that affect your mood, thinking, and behavior, while mental health includes psychological, emotional, and social well being. Mental health determines how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices that affect our quality of life. Need you to understand the power of the words mental health. Mental health. Mental health is a lifestyle. And I sell shirts that say mental health is a lifestyle. It's a trademark of mine. It's everything. It's my brand. Mental health is a lifestyle. If we are diagnosed with a mental illness, then we are going to jump on this bandwagon of being mentally healthy, mental health, because this is the lifestyle. If we are not diagnosed with a mental illness, but yet and still we want to remain healthy and strong, we want to have powerful relationships, romantic in our career, relationships with our finances, with our parents, with our children, then make mental health a lifestyle. I need you to understand there's a difference. There should be no shame in the words mental health. It should be powerful. It's a lifestyle. So please join me on this journey of making mental health your lifestyle, because it's mine. That's what this book is. This book is committing to making mental health a lifestyle. I don't care who you are and where you are. This book is for you. I'm going to go on and just try to introduce the why. The why. So remember I told you back in the day, this was when I was, was I 19 years old at the time, or 18? And I was giving my advice that I just thought out, you do this, you do that. And not even understanding why not only was my behavior probably as dysfunctional, but why people wouldn't change, what it was that they were doing. And it was because I needed to figure out, how does the brain work? I needed to know human behavior, honey. I was like, I need to know it all, the why. I'm stuck on the why. So introducing the why. There are reasons you may be experiencing a low level of motivation or energy, high anxiety, irregular moods, irritability, inability to concentrate, racing thoughts, confusion, sadness, anger, and or depression. Your brain has neurons and neurotransmitters that govern the way you process information, perceive circumstances, feel, and make decisions. Neurotransmitters help to regulate mental performance, emotional states, physical energy, and your pain response. They are mainly the central nervous system and are active anywhere there are nerves, such as your stomach and your muscles. And I need to tell you this. I'll tell you a little bit as we move into that other pillar, but nutrition. So I don't even know that you even understand that how your stomach, your gut, and your brain have a great relationship. And if your brain is off, if the neurotransmitters is off, if your mood is off, then your stomach is off. And if your stomach is off, if you have, an unhealthy gut, if you aren't taking care of your gut, then it can actually bring on symptoms of anxiety and depression. So you must understand that your brain and your gut have a very powerful connection. If you find yourself having issues with any of the latter, like I just said, you should continue to read on. in this book and learn how to create change in your thinking. Let me just start off with just saying one. I'll just point out one neurotransmitter. I'll make it easy because I don't want this to be too woo-woo. I don't want to lose you. I want to keep you right here. Dopamine. Dopamine. You may have even heard of dopamine, but dopamine is that neurotransmitter in your brain that you want to go higher. And usually one thing, which is another pillar that we're going to talk about next, it can actually boost the dopamine level in your brain. And that's a good thing. So I'll just point out to you, I just wanted to point out dopamine. So we'll just do one neurotransmitter today. Not too heavy. It's just enough for you, just so we can move on to another pillar. Dopamine is a focus neurotransmitter that regulates motor behavior, motivation, pleasure, and emotional arousal. Elevated dopamine levels, elevated. So not just a spike when it's low, but I'm talking about elevated, and this is above normal, above the normal grade. So when dopamine is too high, that's why you need to hear this, because your neurotransmitters need to be working together and they need to be leveled off, right? There doesn't need to be spikes, and then there doesn't need to be lows where it's too low, because then they don't work together, and then that's where those mood changes come from. But when your dopamine level is too high, elevated dopamine levels have been associated with schizophrenia, while low levels can be associated with addiction, cravings, certain forms of depression, and the muscular rigidity and tremors found in Parkinson's disease. So when I tell you your brain is powerful, your brain is powerful. But when you understand the why, you can get in front of it. You can be proactive to make sure that your neurotransmitters are regulated. And this is why I'm telling you, this is a powerful sauce, because it teaches you the why, and then it gives you the power so that you can do something about it. So that you can be proactive with taking care of your mind, with keeping it healthy and strong. And so as we talked about neurotransmitters, I just want to tell you that there's more information in here with other neurotransmitters, and it pretty much will teach you, the other things, how it affects your body, how when your neurotransmitter is off, or what this neurotransmitter is responsible for. In the book. So you got to get the book. So what we want to do is if the dopamine is low in the brain, okay? If the dopamine is low in the brain, then what we're going to do, because remember, when the dopamine is at low levels in the brain, lower, then it can be associated with addiction, cravings, certain forms of depression, muscular rigidity, and tremors found in Parkinson's disease. So we want to regulate it. So what do we do, Andrea, when I'm feeling like my mood is low? So the first thing that I prescribe everybody, when I say everybody, I mean everybody. And let me also tell y'all that everything in this book I do myself. May not do them all every day. Some of them I do, but I believe in it. Okay, so what I would say is go to pillar 1, exercise. If you want to raise the dopamine level in your brain, exercise. Exercise does not have to be this serious thing that you see when you look at these shows and they do these muscle shows and they lifting all these weights and looking a certain way, and all like it's not even about that. I exercise 6 days a week. And I mean, you see me on the screen here, but I'm just saying I'm not a thin girl. So I'm not a girl that you see in the picture. You be like, oh, she exercises a lot because I don't do it for my body. I do it for my brain. So I need you to understand that. But exercise raises the dopamine level in your brain. So if your mood is feeling like it's a little low, or if you're feeling like you're a little anxious or unnerved, go take a walk. If you leave out of your house and walk 15 minutes and then turn around and come back home, Do the math. Do the math. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. That's 30 minutes. You've done 30 minutes and you've boosted the natural feel good in your body, the natural feel good neurotransmitter in your body. So let me go here. So this pillar 1 is exercise. Exercise boosts the brain. Exercise increases the amount of gray matter in the prefrontal lobe, which heightens your creativity, your level of motivation. It does. Creativity, motivation. So that means you feel more creative and more motivated. And this is why I choose to do it in the mornings before I start speaking to clients all day. Exercise also aids in the brain's capacity to reason more effectively, and it increases your decision-making ability. I want you to hear, this is a study that was done at Harvard, and they compared people who exercised every day to people who lived a sedentary lifestyle. They ain't exercise. They ain't do nothing. They sat on the couch. They ate. They probably went to work and came home and did nothing. And what they found was the people who exercised regularly, not 6 days a week or 7, but 3 to 5 days a week, were more intelligent than the ones who led a sedentary lifestyle. I did put that in the book because I think that is so powerful. So if you want to be smart and keep your brain sharp, you must exercise. No more excuses. Get moving. Adopting an exercise regimen is the first pillar with your mental health success. So I prescribe that on your very first visit, or even if I'm doing consultations. I don't care if it's with CEOs, if it's with entertainers, if it's with prostitutes. I don't care who it's with, and I see them all. Full range, everybody and everybody in between. Exercise, exercise, exercise. It's so good. It's never too late to get started, even if at your last doctor's visit revealed that you had a BMI bordering on obesity. Don't be distracted by a crowded imagination and unclear vision. Your mind is capable of making good life decisions. Get up and throw on a pair of sneakers. I'm from Jersey. I'm from the East Coast, so we call them sneakers. I know other people call them tennis shoes, but throw on some sneakers and get out and start moving. Treat your mind well. Treat your mind well. So that, more information on exercise, on different types of exercise, all in the book, and how it affects your brain. And then remember, I told you that there's a space after each and every chapter, each pillar, where you can kind of write about your experiences or your thoughts. Or maybe it's what it is that you liked on this day when I did this exercise and did it, because we are not perfect. So let's just say if you said, okay, today, Andrea, tomorrow I'm going to start on Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers. So if you said, I'm going to start tomorrow, and you do a great week and you feeling so good, and then you decide to let life get in the way. You decide, it's a decision. And then you fall off. Don't exercise. Then all of a sudden, 3 months from now, you feeling, oh, I don't feel good. Oh, my mood is low. I'm irritated. Boom, wait, hold on. Let me get my book. Oh, Andrea said, I'm going to try X. Then you go look in your book and you say, wait a minute, I did. I liked when I took the spin class. Or I liked when I walked over to whatever at the park over there and I saw all the greenery. Or, I liked it when I took this dance class. Exercise. So little reminders you can also add in that space. And then today I'm going to end, not just yet, but I'm going to end with pillar number 2, nutrition. So I kind of talked to you about the relationship between your brain and your gut. And like I said, if there's a problem with one, then it affects the other, and it could bring about a problem with the other. So let me read a little bit. Pillar 2. Inside the book, let me just say to you, I also have some recipes in the book that you can actually, you can use to keep your mind, to be proactive with keeping your mind healthy and strong. I included a little pyramid, a diet pyramid of healthy foods that help your brain and help your body, help your gut. And so that's also in the book. The brain stomach connection. What's most important for you to understand is that the entire process of fueling your brain begins in your stomach. As earlier stated, if your brain is your life's engine and your brain is your life's engine, it's your navigation. Whatever it says is where you go. That's why we have to peel back those layers, change that narrative, because wherever it says is where you go. So it is the engine. It keeps you moving, keeps you going. It's your navigation. So as your brain being your life's engine, then the nutrients you eat and drink are your life's fuel. In an article in Science Digest, the stomach is referred to as your super highway to the brain, or as your second brain. Your stomach is your second brain. Moreover, the production of these super highways is activated when your body produces serotonin. Serotonin is another neurotransmitter. Serotonin is a powerful neurotransmitter that controls your mood, appetite, sleep, and pain. And 95% of it is produced in the digestive tract. I need y'all to hear me. I need you to hear me. Come on, you have the power to take care of your brains. You have the power to do that. When you maintain a healthy diet, your body produces good bacteria, which make up your intestinal microbiome. These good bacteria help block bad bacteria and help you to absorb nutrients, and they limit inflammation. The more good bacteria in your body, the more serotonin your body produces. Come on now. However, bad bacteria releases oxidants, toxins, and free radicals that can ultimately damage the brain's cells. What are you feeding your brains? Same thing you feed in your body. Recent studies reveal the area of the brain most affected by a poor diet is the hippocampus, which controls one's learning, emotions, memory, and the autonomic nervous system. When one eats nutrient-dense foods like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and fish rich in omega-3s, it helps protect the hippocampus. You can increase the hippocampal genesis with exercise, enriched environments, and caloric restrictions, which decrease oxidative stress and leads to signs of aging and mental decline. The line between one's diet and one's mental health is not only relegated to adults. I want you to hear me. This is not just for the adults. This is for your children too, your nieces, your nephews. In a study conducted by the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, researchers found among mothers and children, early nutritional exposure were independently related to the risk for behavioral and emotional problems in children. Do you hear me? Do you hear me now? What are you feeding the children? What are you feeding their brains? Perhaps your child's clouded thinking and emotional outburst are directly related to their diet. I can confidently say, based on research, the diet could certainly play a part. It's all in here, y'all. it's all in here. It is all in here. And I will just name this some foods that I would say that I want you to add to your diet because it's all in the book. It's in the book. But very, like I said, foods that are high in omega-3s, nuts, seeds, avocado, beans, like all of those things, they're in the book. And this is the deal. If you don't eat those foods every day, take some supplements. Take some supplements, make sure you take some supplements and take care of your brain. Vitamin D is also great for depression. So, get some sun. Sun gives us vitamin D, but you don't want too much sun because then you can get cancer from the spots on your skin when you spend too much time and if you haven't protected your skin. So vitamin D, take the supplements. So that's where I am with that pillar. And then there are 3 other pillars in the book, guys. So get the book. It is so good. And read your book and use your book. Use your book. Pastor Kim, hey.
Thank you. You have set us off and started us off right. And we so appreciate you. I thank you again. Could you share with us all of your social media contacts, as well as I know that you participate on a radio show here in Florida. So can you give us the dates and the times that you participate in that, or just anywhere where we can reach out to you and just hear you when we need to?
Yes. So, okay. So yeah, you can follow me on, it's right here at A Wise Brown, right? My name's Andrea Wise Brown, but at A Wise Brown. So you can follow me on social media. In addition to that, please go to my website. You can check out things on my website. Like I told you, I sell merchandise because I am about destigmatizing, taking care of your mind. So I sell t-shirts, I sell hoodies. I have one that says mental health is a lifestyle, crew necks, and then I have one that says freedom, because I really was inspired to do freedom from mental stress, freedom from systematic racism, freedom from anxiety, freedom from depression. So I have some freedom shirts on there, freedom hoodies. So check all of that out at awisebrown.com. So I'm at awisebrown everything. And you can look around on the website and find out all the other stuff that I'm doing. So yes, I'm grateful to be here, Pastor Kim.
Thank you. We look forward to you coming back. And like I said, I will share with them the ways that they're going to be able to ask questions. And while I know that due to licensing restrictions, you're not able to at best basically counsel in that way out of state, but we thank you for even stepping in and saying yes. If they have a question, I'm willing to answer that question. They'll send the questions to me, or they can send them directly to you. We'll discuss which way is better for you, and then you'll answer those questions without names and without in confidentiality, so that everybody can reap the benefit of understanding what it means to go through that situation, or what's the best response, because we are all going to learn in that area. So I appreciate you doing that. And to all the women that are watching, and some of those that will be watching the replay, please get registered. So the best way to get registered is at bit.ly, is bit.ly, bit.ly, and it's // what did I have it as? I'm losing it right now. There you go. It's on your screen. WP Empowering Me. So just get registered, because this is a private it's a private small group. We're going to definitely be getting together. We're going to be talking and sharing and doing so many different things and learning how to make mental health a lifestyle for us, because it is so important. And yes, I'm going to be giving gifts away, because I know that it's important that you have shirts that say mental health is a lifestyle, that you have shirts that say freedom and things like that, because we need to know that. I always speak to people. I say, hey, beautiful. I always call women queens. I speak life. I try to make sure that everything we speak is positive, especially with having three girls. And even for our boys, it's so important that we start changing our language, changing how we speak to our children. And especially in this time, we have learned so much in this time. It's grown us, it's matured us, but we also want to be healthy in how we think about and how we respond to certain things. So it's so important that we do that. I thank you for your time. I do not take that lightly, and I appreciate you doing that. We're looking so forward to everything, and hopefully what we'll do is we'll get even comments about what people thought about the study, the book, so that way we can actually keep pushing that out and getting other people involved and letting them know. And one of the major gifts I'm going to give away is to the person that invites the most women, the person that has the most women or men, because yes, we have a men's session, and I'll be posting that link as well. We're going to start posting that. Whoever gets the most women or men, right, to attend our sessions, our small groups, is going to get a gift from me. It will include some things from Miss Andrea Wise Brown, and also some of the things that I have that I want to give to you as well. So I'm looking forward to it. We will see you guys next Saturday. I'm praying for you. If there's any questions that you have, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, but I look forward to you guys being here on next Saturday, 11 a.m. And we're going to get started on Pillar One. We're going to talk and make sure that you guys have the first chapter. I'm going to send that out to you guys as well. So we're going to get that going. You're going to all get a book, so you don't have to go buy the book. It's part of your registration, and it will be signed with your name in it as well. She will be autographing your book, which is why I didn't send the books out ahead of time, because those things, I think it's different when you have something that's personalized for you from the author. It's just always something good to have. So you guys have a blessed day, a blessed week. Happy Mother's Day to all our mothers. I thank you for what you have sowed into your children and how you've had them come out and be world changers to help change this world to make it a better place. Our children are so powerful, and we need to encourage them. And yes, teens are invited. So if you have teenagers that want to participate in our small group, bring them along with you. Have them come on in and enjoy and join us, because we need to reach up, reach out, and reach back. That was one of the things that I learned from one of my pastors, which we were doing women's meetings in our women's ministry, was that she talked about sisterhood, and what that looked like was that we reach up to the ones that are our elders. We reach out to the sisters that are close in age, and we reach back and we pull up the youth and the younger adults, the young adults, and have them and bring them alongside, so that we're all in this together. So you guys enjoy your week. Happy Mother's Day, Andrea. I love
Happy Mother's
you.
Day.
I appreciate you. I want to post
Love
this
you
comment
too.
because somebody has a comment. I want to make sure we get it out there. Nicole, thank you, Nicole. Nicole, she is amazing. She's such a great supporter, and she was so excited about being here. So I know she was excited. She's on her way to drop her one of my great nephews off to college. He's going back to school. She's on her way to drive him back to school. We got so many things our kids are doing. So it's so good. Let's support each other, and let's continue to do great things, because we're going to make this world great, and we're going to make ourselves great while we're doing it. So God bless you. Thank you so much. And you guys have an amazing day and an evening.
You too. God bless you.
God
Thank you.
bless you. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.